Super Tuesday is just 2 weeks away, and Virginia is one of the states holding primaries that day. And a new poll from Monmouth University shows Democrats Mike Bloomberg and Bernie Sanders neck and neck in the Commonwealth. Each has support from 22% of likely voters. And as Mike Valerio reports, Bloomberg has a lot invested in Virginia.
How we doing?
Presidential candidate Michael Bloomberg finding new momentum in Virginia, and his rivals are taking notice.
Michael Bloomberg is saying, in effect,
Elizabeth Warren called out Bloomberg by name first in Arlington last week, but the billionaire may have a built-in advantage when it comes to a potential victory in Virginia. A WUSA 9 review of records shows Bloomberg bankrolled 1 in 5 Democratic Virginia House candidates in our area last year. It's a network of potential political allies that could help his campaign. That includes Delegate Joshua Cole of Fredericksburg, reporting a $34,000 donation. And there's also $80,000 that went to Senator John Bell of Chantilly. Both fought intensely competitive races where Bloomberg cash may have helped as Democrats shifted the balance of power.
And also worth noting here, Bloomberg has visited Virginia 6 times more than anywhere else. He has 7 offices in the Commonwealth, whereas most candidates have 2. Mike Valerio, WUSA 9.
All right.